Good evening, friends. Tonight we gather not in celebration, but in solemn reflection. A quiet moment on the porch swing of memory, watching the sun set on an era. The whispers from Hollywood's golden age, and indeed its more recent past, often tell a tale of brilliance, of glamour, of lives lived in the dazzling spotlight. But beneath that glow, there are shadows. Secrets shared not in hushed tones, but in the tragic patterns that bind certain destinies. Today we delve into files, both public and private, to uncover a truth that connects a living legend, Brendon, with those we've lost too soon. A secret not of conspiracy, but of a profound human struggle. It's a story of how the very forces that elevate some to stardom can, for others, become a relentless current dragging them into the depths. We'll explore lives that burned so brightly, only to flicker and fade, leaving us to wonder what truly happened behind the velvet ropes and closed doors. What unseen battles were they fighting? What silent pleas went unheard? Join us as we piece together the fragments of these lives, searching for understanding in the echoes of their final days. Brendon, the very mention of his name often conjures a smile, a memory of a certain charm, a quick wit. For 7 glorious seasons he was our Xander Harris on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The everyman, the heart and soul of a group battling literal demons. He was the one without supernatural powers, yet possessed an indomitable spirit, a loyalty that anchored the Scooby Gang. He was the comic relief, the steadfast friend, the relatable human amidst the vampires and witches. He was, in essence, the audience's entry point into that fantastical world. And what a world it was. For many of us, tuning in each week was a ritual, a connection to a story that felt both extraordinary and deeply personal. It was a time when television was a shared experience, before the age of endless streaming, when we discussed plot twists around the water cooler the next day. Brendon, with his effortless charisma, seemed destined for a long, vibrant career, building on the foundation of such a beloved character. He captured the hearts of millions, and for a time, he truly was a star, shining brightly in the firmament of 90s pop culture. You remember him, don't you? That easy smile, that sense of genuine warmth he brought to the screen. It felt like he was one of us. Yet, behind that beloved portrayal, a different, far more agonizing story was unfolding. The files, the grim collection of public court records, the mugshots that became tragically common, the confessional interviews, they chronicle not a physical death, but a slow public unraveling. A career, a reputation, systematically dismantled not by external enemies, but by internal ones. The secret Brendon shares with those who have tragically departed, figures like Seymour Hoffman, Farley, Robin Williams, is the devastatingly common yet privately suffered comorbidity of severe depression and chronic addiction. The documents lay bare a textbook spiral, the immense pressure of fading stardom, the quiet desperation of self-medication to numb the pain of perceived failure, and the subsequent arrests that turned a private struggle into public shame. This, my friends, is Hollywood's most dangerous open secret. The blueprint for self-destruction that hides in plain sight, a pattern repeated through generations of performers. The ultimate, cruel irony is forever sealed in the celluloid of his most famous role. For 7 seasons, Brendon played Xander Harris, the show's steadfast human heart, the comic relief, the everyman who anchored his superpowered friends. He was the one without powers who faced down demons with sheer courage and loyalty. The actor beloved for playing the group's most stable and relatable anchor was, in reality, privately battling the very kind of inner demons his character gave others the strength to fight. It's a poignant, heartbreaking paradox that leaves us wondering about the true cost of fame and the silent battles fought by those we admire. Now, let's turn our gaze to another icon of that era, a face etched into the collective memory of a generation. Luke Perry. For many of us, he was the quintessential 90s heartthrob, Dylan McKay from Beverly Hills 90210. He exuded a cool confidence, a brooding charm that captivated audiences worldwide. He was the bad boy with a heart of gold, the one every young woman longed for and every young man wished he could be. His rise to fame was meteoric, transforming him from a struggling actor to a global superstar almost overnight. Beyond the phenomenon of 90210, Luke Perry continued to build a respectable career, taking on diverse roles that showcased his range, from gritty independent films to beloved television dramas like Riverdale. He carried himself with a quiet dignity, a grounded presence that seemed rare in the often fickle world of Hollywood. He wasn't one for sensational headlines or public scandals. He simply did the work, earning the respect of his peers and the enduring affection of his fans. He was a steady hand, a familiar comforting presence on our screens for decades. He was also a part of the Buffy universe, albeit in a different iteration. He was Pike, the male lead opposite Kirstie Swanson in the 1992 film that started it all. 5 years later, Nicholas Brendon would inherit that mantle, not as Pike but as Xander Harris, one of the core 3 heroes in the globally recognized television series. The files reveal not a conspiracy, but a shared, ghost-like origin story in a pop culture phenomenon. They are 2 pillars of the same foundational myth, one from its forgotten cinematic birth, the other from its celebrated television life. Then, in early 2019, the world stopped. The news of his sudden illness, a catastrophic ischemic stroke, sent shockwaves through the industry and into the homes of millions. He was hospitalized. Hope held its breath. But ultimately, he never recovered. Luke Perry passed away on March 4th, 2019, at the age of 52. His death was sudden, shocking, and seen as a profound loss to the industry, to his family, and to every fan who had grown up watching him. It was a stark reminder of life's fragility, of how swiftly even the most vibrant among us can be taken. The cruelest irony lies in the franchise's trajectory versus the actor's fates. Luke Perry, already a global superstar from 90210, starred in the Buffy film, which was a commercial and critical disappointment, a footnote in his celebrated career. Nicholas Brendon, a relative unknown, starred in the Buffy television show, which became a paradigm-shifting, iconic success that would define his entire professional life. Yet Perry navigated Hollywood for decades with quiet dignity, and his sudden death was met with universal grief for a man seen as grounded and kind. Brendon, launched to fame by the more successful project, has endured a very public, decades-long battle with personal demons. The project that failed was a minor gig for a beloved star who died a legend. The project that succeeded became the defining peak for an actor whose subsequent struggles became a public tragedy. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the unseen currents that guide our paths, and how the very same waters can carry one to calm shores and another to a tempest. From the world of 90s television, we now journey forward to a star who shone brightly in a more recent constellation, a man who, in a tragically short time, became an icon for millions. Chadwick Boseman. His ascent was nothing short of extraordinary. He didn't just play characters, he embodied them, bringing a gravitas and depth to historical figures like Jackie Robinson in 42, James Brown in Get On Up, and Thurgood Marshall in Marshall. But it was his portrayal of King T'Challa, the Black Panther, that cemented his place in cinematic history and in the hearts of a global audience. He gave us a hero of unparalleled strength, wisdom, and dignity, a king who inspired generations and shattered barriers. His performances were celebrated, his presence electrifying, and his future seemed limitless. Yet beneath the triumph, beneath the smiles on red carpets and the powerful speeches, Chadwick Boseman was fighting a battle that very few knew about. The pressure to perform, to maintain the image of an invincible hero, must have been immense. Our investigation into these files doesn't reveal a physical meeting or a direct conversation between him and someone like Nicholas Brendon. The connection is far more subtle and far more chilling. The secret, shared between a star like Chadwick Boseman and a figure navigating profound public struggles like Nicholas Brendon, is the crushing, unspoken rule of Hollywood. You must perform through the pain. For Boseman, it was a silent, 4-year battle with terminal colon cancer, a devastating physical ailment hidden behind a mask of superheroic strength, dignity, and unwavering commitment to his craft. For Brendon, the same pattern manifests as a public struggle with the internal demons of depression and addiction. The tragic link isn't a friendship, it's a shared condition of celebrity, the immense pressure to project an image of perfection, of boundless energy, while privately battling a life or death crisis, be it of the body or the mind. He filmed some of his most physically demanding roles while undergoing surgeries and chemotherapy, a testament to his incredible fortitude, but also a stark reminder of the sacrifices demanded by his profession. He passed away on August 28, 2020, at the age of 43. The news a devastating shock to a world that had no idea of his silent suffering. The most profound and heartbreaking irony is that Chadwick Boseman gave the world King T'Challa, an icon of strength, vitality, and enduring legacy for black culture. He embodied a seemingly invincible hero who could cheat death. Yet while portraying this bastion of power on screen, the man himself was quietly and courageously facing his own mortality. He delivered a symbol of eternal life for his people at the very moment cancer was taking his own. The world saw a king, but the man was fighting a war just to survive the day. It's a truth that forces us to look beyond the surface, to consider the unseen burdens carried by those we admire. and to appreciate the profound strength it takes to face one's own mortality with such grace and courage. Let us now reflect on Heche, a talent who graced our screens with a captivating intensity, whose radiant smile and undeniable acting prowess promised a long and illustrious career. She rose to prominence in the 1990s, starring in a string of successful films like Donnie Brasco, Volcano, and 6 Days, 7 Nights, opposite some of Hollywood's biggest leading men. Her performances were often lauded for their raw vulnerability and fierce intelligence. She possessed a unique energy, an almost electric presence that drew you in, whether she was portraying a conflicted scientist or a fiery romantic light. She was undeniably a star, part of that vibrant generation of actors who defined the decade. Yet, as the cameras flashed and the accolades poured in, Heche was grappling with profound internal battles. Her public life became intertwined with a deeply personal narrative of trauma, mental health struggles, and addiction. The pressures of Hollywood, the relentless scrutiny, and the very public nature of her relationships seemed to amplify the pain she carried. Our investigation into files, interviews, and the star's own memoirs reveals a chilling pattern, a dark secret connecting Heche not just to other fallen legends like Matthew Perry, but to a survivor who carries the same scars, Brendon. The secret isn't a hidden pact. It's a shared, brutal truth they all tried to tell us. All three were catapulted to superstardom in the 1990s, an era that celebrated their public image while they privately descended into catastrophic battles with addiction and mental health. They were part of an unspoken fraternity of pain, self-medicating to survive the very fame that defined them. Heche detailed her trauma-induced alternate personality, Celestia, in her memoir. Perry chronicled his near-fatal war with opioids, and Brendon, the living link in this chain, has had his own public and painful struggles with alcoholism and depression, leading to multiple arrests. The secret they shared was the unbearable cost of their public lives, a truth they each confessed in memoirs or raw public statements, a desperate SOS from inside the machine. In August of 2022, her life tragically ended in a fiery car crash, a devastating accident that shook us all. The official coroner's report cited inhalation and thermal injuries, with a sternal fracture due to blunt trauma as the cause of death. Toxicology confirmed the presence of certain substances, but found she was not impaired by alcohol at the time of the crash. It was a sudden, violent end to a life marked by both brilliance and profound struggle. The ultimate, gut-wrenching irony is in the title of her own 2001 memoir, Call Me Crazy. For years, Heche laid bare the trauma and mental anguish that fueled her behavior, pleading for understanding beyond the tabloid caricature. In the end, after a death born of that same internal chaos, many did exactly what she asked. They called her crazy, reducing a lifetime of pain she desperately tried to explain into a final, tragic headline, proving that even after screaming her truth, she was never truly heard. It's a somber reminder of how quickly society can judge, and how rarely we truly listen to the cries for help from those who entertain us. From the complex narrative of Heche, we turn to a figure who, for many, represented the very essence of American wholesomeness and humor, Bob Saget. For 8 seasons, he was Danny Tanner, the meticulously clean, endlessly loving single father on Full House. He was America's dad, a comforting presence in millions of living rooms, a symbol of family values and gentle guidance. His warmth, his knack for delivering life lessons with a smile made him a beloved figure across generations. It's hard to imagine anyone growing up in the 1980s or 90s who didn't feel a connection to him. Yet off-screen, Bob Saget was a man of startling contradictions. His stand-up comedy was famously hilariously R-rated, a stark contrast to his television persona. This duality wasn't a facade. It was a coping mechanism, a way to channel a lifetime steeped in profound grief. The leaked files aren't documents. They're the public records of private pain. The secret shared by Bob Saget, Brendon, Matthew Perry, and other fallen stars isn't a conspiracy, it's a condition. It's the profound psychic weight of maintaining a beloved public persona while battling intensely personal demons. For Brendon and Perry, it was addiction and depression, fought under the glare of the media. For Saget, it was a life steeped in grief, losing multiple family members, most notably his sister to scleroderma. He channeled that darkness into 2 extremes: his famously filthy stand-up comedy as a release valve, and a relentless public crusade for a cure, becoming a tireless advocate for the Scleroderma Research Foundation. The shared secret is the mask of the performer, the crushing expectation to provide joy while privately navigating immense personal sorrow. His death in January of 2022 was as shocking as it was unexpected. After a stand-up performance, he was found unresponsive in his hotel room. The official cause was blunt head trauma, a tragic, catastrophic accident from an unwitnessed fall. He simply went to bed, unaware the injury was fatal. It was a quiet, solitary end for a man who brought so much laughter and comfort to the world. The ultimate irony of Bob Saget's life is that he was a man obsessed with connection. The America's dad, who ended every call with, "I love you," and whose stand-up, no matter how vulgar, was about creating a communal experience. Yet he died utterly alone, from a mundane accident, in the sterile anonymity of a hotel room. A man who expertly navigated the darkest corners of human grief with humor couldn't be saved from a simple, unwitnessed fall. It forces us to confront the stark reality that even the most beloved figures, those who seem to have it all, are ultimately just as vulnerable to life's cruel twists as any of us. And finally, we reflect on Kirstie Alley, a force of nature whose infectious laugh and vibrant personality lit up screens for decades. She burst into our collective consciousness as Rebecca Howe on Cheers, a strong, sassy, and utterly captivating presence who brought a new dynamic to one of television's most beloved sitcoms. From there, she charmed us in films like Look Who's Talking, proving her comedic timing was impeccable and her ability to connect with an audience was undeniable. Kirstie Alley was a star who always felt authentic, a little rough around the edges, and fiercely independent. She wasn't afraid to speak her mind, to challenge conventions, or to live life on her own terms. Her career spanned decades, evolving with the times, always finding new ways to entertain and engage her fans. Her energy was boundless, her spirit indomitable, and her presence always memorable. Yet even for someone so outwardly confident, the pressures of Hollywood, the constant public scrutiny, and the relentless focus on image took their toll. The files don't reveal a Hollywood conspiracy, but something more chillingly modern, a shared stage of public confession. Alley, like Buffy star Nicholas Brendon and the hauntingly prophetic Sinead O'Connor, turned to the bright lights of daytime television, specifically the Dr. Phil show, as a last-ditch arena for their personal battles. For Alley, it was a desperate public war against her weight and the media's perception of her. For Brendon, a raw plea amidst addiction and arrests. For O'Connor, a heartbreaking cry for help with her profound mental health struggles. The secret they shared wasn't a whispered word. It was the televised spectacle of their own vulnerability. Brendon remains the living witness to this tragic pattern. Legendary figures, cornered by their demons in the public gaze, seeking salvation on a soundstage, only to have their pain repackaged as primetime entertainment. In December of 2022, the news of her passing came as a profound shock to many. Officially, the cause was colon cancer, a diagnosis she had kept intensely private until the very end. The suddenness of the announcement sent a ripple of sadness through the public, who had just seen her vibrant and full of life mere months before. It was a quiet, private battle fought by a woman who had lived so much of her life in the public eye. The ultimate irony for Kirstie Alley is one of profound silence. A woman who built a second act on being defiantly, unapologetically loud, on television, on social media, in her personal beliefs, ultimately faced her final, most formidable battle in complete privacy. The star who refused to be silenced by Hollywood or public opinion chose to be silent about the one fight she couldn't win. Her quiet departure leaves us to reflect on the unseen struggles, the hidden pains, and the profound courage it takes to face life's greatest challenges, even when the world is watching, and perhaps especially when it is not. As we close this chapter, we're left with a profound sense of the intricate tapestry of fame. Its dazzling threads woven with strands of immense pressure, hidden pain, and often silent suffering. The stories of these stars, both those we've lost and those who continue to navigate their struggles, remind us that beneath the glamour and the headlines, there are complex, fragile human beings. Nicholas Brendon, in his ongoing journey, serves as a poignant, living echo of the battles many of his peers fought and, in some cases, tragically succumbed to. Their secret, as we've seen, is not a grand conspiracy, but the deeply personal, often devastating cost of living a life in the public eye, a life where inner turmoil is often masked by outer perfection. It's a testament to their resilience, their talent, and their humanity. Let us remember them not just for the roles they played, but for the lives they lived, the challenges they faced, and the indelible mark they left on our hearts. Take care of yourselves and hold your loved ones close. Memory is the only thing that truly lasts forever.